One Gospel, Version 2, Part 68, the Bread of Life Sermon, John 6:22 through 71. The following day, when the people who stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was no other boat there, except that one which his disciples had entered, and that Yeshua did not go with his disciples into the boat, but his disciples had gone away alone. However, other boats came from Tiberias near the place where they ate bread after the Lord had given thanks. Therefore, when the people saw that Yeshua was not there, nor his disciples, they also got into boats and came to Capharnaum, seeking Yeshua. And when they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Yeshua answered them and said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you seek me, not because you saw the signs, but because you ate the loaves and were filled. Do not labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which remains to everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give to you. For God the Father has set his seal on him." Then they said to him, "What shall we do that we might labor for God's works?" Yeshua answered and said to them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent." Therefore they said to him, "What sign will you do then, that we may see and believe you? What work will you do? Our fathers ate manna in the wilderness, as it is written, He gave them bread from the heaven to eat." Then Yeshua said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, Moshe did not give you that bread from the heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from the heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." Then they said to him, "Lord, always give us this bread." And Yeshua said to them, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. But I said to you, that you have also seen me and do not believe. All that the Father gives me shall come to me, and he who comes to me by no means will I cast out. For I came down from the heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me I may not lose anything, but may raise it up again in the last day. And this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up in the last day." The Yehud then murmured concerning him, because he said, "I am the bread which came down from the heaven." And they said, "Is this not Yeshua ben Yosef, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he says, 'I came down from the heaven'?" Yeshua therefore answered and said to them, "Do not murmur among yourselves. No man can come to me unless the Father who has sent me draws him, and I will raise him up in the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught by God. Therefore every man who has heard from the Father and learned comes to me. Not that any man has seen the Father, except he who is of God. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me has everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which comes down from the heaven, that one may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread which came down from the heaven. If any man eats this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Yehud therefore disputed among themselves, saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Yeshua said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh truly is food, and my blood truly is drink. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood abides in me, and I in him. As the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, indeed, he who eats me, he also shall live because of me. This is that bread which came down from the heaven, not as your fathers ate manna, and are dead. He who eats this bread shall live forever. He said these things in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum. Therefore many of his disciples, when they heard this, said, This is a harsh saying. Who can listen to it? Then Yeshua knew within himself that his disciples murmured at it. He said to them, Does this offend you? What then, if you should see the Son of Man ascend up to where he was before? It is the Spirit that gives life. The flesh does not profit anything. The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you that do not believe. For Yeshua knew from the beginning who they were who did not believe, and who would betray him. And he said, Therefore I say to you, that no man can come to me, unless it has been granted to him by my Father. From that time many of his disciples went back, and walked with him no more. Then Yeshua said to the 12, Will you also go away? Then Shimon Kepha answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life, and we have believed and come to know that you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Yeshua answered them, Have I not chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? He spoke of Yehuda ben Shimon of Kirat, for it was he, being one of the 12, who would betray him.